ranking member of the Environment Committee. And he most recently, by the way, put out an op-ed on this very issue. Let's welcome back to the show State Representative Patrick Callahan. Patrick, good morning.
Good morning, Gary. Good to talk to you again.
It always is great talking with you. Before PURA ruled allowing the utilities to recover money from rebates for, let's say, electric chargers that were installed in people's homes, you put out an op-ed on this subject. Can you go into that a little bit before I go into this this public benefit option?
Sure.
Not really an option, though.
No, it's not an option. You covered quite a bit of it in your opening statement, but back in February, we held a press conference to Senate Republicans and House. We talked about this in February, saying these bills are going to be due this summer. Take this ARPA money that, as you said in your opening, is COVID money, and use it for this COVID expense so everyone doesn't get the hit. They chose not to do that. So we went back about 3 weeks ago and did it again, and they still haven't budged. So as you said, myself and Representative Howard put out an op-ed talking about these very topics. And also what's really bugging me, Gary, is using everyone's electric bills for their pet projects, for chargers, for rebates. Those are things that should be proposed, as you know, having been in the legislature, they should be proposed in committee. They should have public hearings so the public can express their thoughts. So now after the fact, it's all of my representatives and I are getting pounded, rightfully so, by very upset people that didn't know this was coming or didn't know what the effect would be on them. So shouldn't they get a chance to talk about this, and we should hear from them before these things are implemented? And the crux of my op-ed is about stop using everyone's electric bills for the other side's pet projects, because it's unfair to everyone. These are things that should be vetted through the legislative process. Okay, so let's go back to the ARPA money for a moment, Representative. If not for this... That's a good question. We would like it allocated immediately to cover this.
Well, it won't cover it entirely, because I think there's, is it 800 million or 500 million?
Yeah. It's hundreds of millions, but there's also surplus money. There's other money that could have been allocated to this,
right,
in months past. But part of the big problem is what's really bugging me is the finger pointing in the name game. I'm not trying to finger point. I'm a fact guy. You're a fact guy. I've listened to you long enough and known you long enough that Millstone. Oh, it was Millstone. It was the Republicans' idea. When was the last time Republicans were in power?
Well, yeah, you have to go back 40 years.
This is Malloy signed the contract with Millstone. First of all, nuclear is about 38% of our power. Without it, we would have had brownouts. So it's kind of a necessity. So now it was a Republican bill? No, it wasn't. This was a bill that had to be proposed. You know the deal. The Speaker of the House, who was a Democrat, would have to bring it up. Mm-hmm. So yes, some Republicans before I got there voted for it, and a lot of Democrats voted for it. But if they didn't want it, they could have voted it down. I represent this little corner of Connecticut, and one of my towns is Sherman. There's a store in Sherman whose electric bill, he sells, it's a supermarket, tripled. His electric bill.
Oh, yeah.
Who's going to pay for that?
No. I've heard that. Yeah. Electricity is something that every household needs. There's a difference between a need and a want. I wanted to get your take on that, Representative.
You're 100% right. I mean, obviously, when we have the biggest purse strings in Connecticut, every legislative session, there's entities that want to tap into that. But we have emergencies being declared all the time for different reasons. This is an emergency. I've got people calling me in tears. I'm not exaggerating, in tears, saying they can't pay their bill. You've seen the petitions. You've seen people on Facebook, maybe I have, saying they're not going to pay the public benefits section. They're all going to mass together and not pay it. Well, I think that's a risky thing to do, but I agree completely. I have very good friends on the other side of the aisle that I work very well with, but we're ideologically opposite. I think this is an issue that we can all come together on. All of our constituents, Democrat and Republican districts, are suffering badly. Businesses and homes. My bill doubled. Well, we got to stop. We got to stop stopping leaks here and have a real energy policy. And Senator Fazio and Representative Buckby have been meeting with the governor and trying to. We keep trying stopgap measures to keep costs down instead of increasing the massive amounts of natural gas available coming into the state, clean burning. And as you know, when you're in the legislature, That was the big push. Let's go to natural gas. Now they want to rip that rug out from everyone and say, no, that's bad now.
But we appreciate you there on the front lines, Mike.